What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping back in yet again with a whole bunch of Shadowkeep stuff to talk about. And so Bungie have revealed some pretty interesting things today. We have confirmation of the power level cap for Shadowkeep. They show us a bunch of new gear, exotics, legendaries, some really cool looking armor. On top of this, we're going to talk about dungeons, the new map for the moon and some very curious things on it, a potential mystery exotic, and a few other things in this video. So guys, as always, I hope you enjoy this one, but without further delay, let's get into it. So initially, before we talk about new Shadowkeep things, Steam linking is now a thing if you're a PC player, so you can begin to get your account set up over on Steam, and then later on Wednesday at 10 AM Pacific time, 6 PM in the UK, cross-save functionality is also going to go live. Once again, I'll link the relevant pages for those down below. But now, let's jump in and talk about some new Shadowkeep information. So, Bungie updated the Shadowkeep page, and we get a look at new gear, insights about the story, and a bunch of other things. So initially, Eris Morn returns. As the heroes of the last safe city turn their attention to the far-reaching frontiers of our galaxy, new nightmares have emerged from an ancient evil that once slumbered beneath the lunar surface. Awakened by the curiosity of Eris Morn, this evil poses a sinister threat far beyond her understanding. And we can see Eris right here, surrounded by various nightmares, pretty spooky stuff. But in terms of what we're going to be doing on the moon, a little bit of a story tease right here. It says, conquer your fears, return to the moon, journey deep into a mysterious hive keep, work with Eris to slay the nightmares before they cast humanity into an age of darkness for good. So certainly pretty sinister stuff going down on the moon. But right here, they start to give us a few more juicy details and a look at some cool gear. And so initially we get confirmation that the power cap is 960, rise to new heights, fight, earn, and infuse to reach the new power cap of 960, level up your seasonal artifact, and exceed the power limit of your weapons and armor to overcome impossible challenges. So we can see what is probably the actual kind of gear cap there, although in an IGN interview at Gamescom, one of the Bungie developers did confirm that the actual maximum power cap is going to be unlimited in Shadowkeep. Of course, that additional power is earned via the artifact. Basically, the dev said, how far you can overlevel really is going to come down to how much time you can put into the game. The overleveling itself is provided via the artifact, so we're not even certain if you'll see the power level sort of in the UI for the character, being 1000 plus or whatever. Personally, I think it's probably going to be kept separately somewhere on the artifact. But of course, if you can continuously power up, you'll be able to sort of overlevel certain activities to an extent, although there is a delta where you stop actually being more powerful than whatever you're fighting. So there's an element of power, and there's definitely an element of prowess with that. But yeah, some kind of unlimited power system that requires a hell of a lot of grind. Pretty interesting stuff. Let us know your thoughts about it below. There's something really interesting here. So it says hunt for all new gear, discover unique weapons and armor in ways both new and old. They give us an insight to some of the kind of activities and rituals we'll actually be doing in Shadowkeep. So construct weapons out of Nightmare Essence with Eris Morn, gather Vex-themed gear through the Season Pass, and collect exciting new exotics from quests and enemy drops. So maybe some exclusive kind of enemy exotics there. But interestingly, we will be constructing weapons out of Nightmare Essence for Eris Morn, and so that probably gives us a bit of an insight into what the Nightmare hunts will really kind of be used for in terms of the end game and progression. Obviously, there is the story element, but it seems entirely possible that this will factor into the progression systems. And so yeah, we will be crafting Nightmare Essence weapons, which sounds really cool, but also Vex-themed gear is going to drop via the Season Pass. And here they show us some of this stuff, and so we can see a bunch of weapons, probably legendaries, that have the kind of Black Garden theme to them, and they look like kind of reskinned Vex weapons from different periods of time. So you've got the kind of No Time to Explain or the Curse of Osiris style pulse, and as well, I think we can see the Scout Rifle there. So they're running with that Vex theme. But then we also see the Lunar Legendary weapons, so Loud Lullaby is a part of that set, and that's the hand cannon that Eris was using in the original trailer. But then there are other confirmed exotics, so the Hunter Helmet here, the Void Galahorn, as some folks are calling it. We can see an icon for that thing, so definitely going to be a unique exotic. And also, on this subject, they do show the ornament for the Twin-Tail Fox that you can get if you pre-order, so just to confirm, they aren't the same thing, and we're definitely looking at a different exotic rocket launcher there. Looks like we are seeing a new Warlock exotic chest piece. That'd be my guess. It doesn't kind of carry the theme of other sets. Actually, it's sort of similar to the theme of the Hunter exotic mask. But yeah, it doesn't look like a legendary. We do see the Warlock potentially casting a rift or something, so could be linked to what it actually does, but pretty tasty looking chest piece for the Warlock. And of course, the exotic hand cannon with the long range scope that Bungie have spoken about. So pretty cool look at some new gear and things that we'll see. In terms of the seasonal content, Bungie say, for Season of the Undying, it'll be included with the purchase of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, and we'll need to defend our moon from the Vex invasion and face the Undying Mind. In the Season of Undying, you will experience a new activity, discover new exotic weapons, collect exclusive universal ornaments, and grow more powerful. And so a few little things to unpack from that. The Undying Mind, I'm not sure if that refers to the actual enemy that we saw in D1. Also, Ikora referred to the Black Heart of the Black Garden in that Vex reveal trailer yesterday, and that's something we spoke about in a video a week or so ago. And so it looks like that's a thing. A new activity will actually be part of Season of the Undying itself, and we see some very cool Vex-themed armor right here. And so these are together on the page, and I'm guessing these are those exclusive universal ornaments that Bungie spoke about. So let us know your thoughts about that pretty cool looking gear. We can also see, I believe, some exotic ornaments on some of the weapons. So that's the new heavy bow with a pretty cool ornament. The character in the middle has the hand cannon, and then the one on the right has the new exotic machine gun that they showed off at GuardianCon. They give a few lines about finishers, so they say that they are class themed, blast arcane energy as a warlock, flourish your knives as a hunter, and strike with your greatest titan power of all, your fist. Rush a weakened enemy to activate a devastating final blow, and equip finisher mods that use super energy to customize the effects, such as self-healing or spawning heavy ammo for your fire team. So that's pretty cool, and for the raid itself, there's a little text teaser here. A signal emerges from the dark and reaches beyond dimensions into the uncharted worlds of the Black Garden. Where it leads inside the garden remains a mystery, one that whispers with temptation, yearning to be solved. And so a bit of a tease to that new Black Garden raid right there. Another interesting thing I wanted to touch on right here, we do know that there's going to be some kind of a dungeon inside of Shadowkeep. Bungie listed this as one of the pieces of content we'll see, but thanks to Mine MMO, they get that confirmation from Bungie that we absolutely will see a new dungeon. However, they want it to essentially remain a mystery. So I guess that's kind of a rule for dungeons or similar content, much like Shattered Throne. It wasn't really an announced thing in Forsaken. Of course, now we know that dungeons are a thing, and so Bungie are listing it as something that we'll actually get. But in terms of the story background for it, it's definitely something we'll have to wait and find out about. Luke Smith did tease this pretty interesting concept of a strike that, when completed for the first time, potentially turns into a dungeon. It could kind of just be an out of context example, but it's definitely interesting because we know that there is a Scarlet Strike, and that's going to take place in the new fortress on the moon. But the real estate there seems to be fairly substantial, you know? From the screenshots and trailers we've spotted, there's a lot of this high fortress, and so, yeah, maybe that's a thing, you know, a strike that does turn into a dungeon. But nonetheless, as long as we've got some good endgame reasons to complete the dungeon, maybe some cool challenges like what we saw with the Shattered Throne, completing it solo and all of that, yeah, I definitely think it'll be a positive addition to the game. There's a few interesting things to point out on the map right here, so I've got a couple of different screenshots and put them together. This gives us a decent look at the actual moon map for Shadowkeep. So initially, on the top left, we can see that the raid appears to be on the director. Looks very much like the other raids, and you've got the guided games icon there as well. I believe the red icons are for the nightmare hunts, so those are the kind of story activities, and like we just said, we'll be able to craft some weapons potentially by completing some of those. On what we saw of the moon director, we can only see one strike, so not sure if there will be another one on the moon. We don't know about strikes in different locations, with the exception of Io, because it does appear there'll be a new one there, but the strike that we saw for the moon does have the Guardians investigating the Scarlet Keep. There are 2 landing zones on the moon. One is kind of close to where we originally loaded in D1, but the second is in Sorrow's Harbour, which is this new kind of northern part of the map. It does extend beyond into the keep itself, and then Sanctuary is a new southern zone, and it appears that we can't actually see all of this area, so definitely a pretty substantial expansion to the moon in different spaces. And Eris Morn is going to be close by, so right near Sanctuary there, and we can also see the crashed Fallen Ketch, Tanik's ship from back in the day, over the top of where the Temple of Crota would have been, or the We've Woken the Hive entrance that you may remember from the D1 story. Otherwise, there are multiple kind of world chests, at least 4 or 5 different lost sectors. But one of the big mysteries would be the Vex icons, so we can see there are some kind of faded or grayed out icons, perhaps different invasion points for the Vex. And then we see the Vex mission milestone there too. But yeah, as a returning location, it's definitely looking fairly fleshed out from what we can see on the map. And there is an additional kind of story section here, so called forth by the haunting visions from her tormented past, Eris Morn has returned and unleashed something that once slumbered beneath the lunar surface, a long dormant power even she cannot control. So some very teasy stuff right there, as well as a very teasy look at some new pieces of gear and things like that. So guys, let us know your thoughts about everything we've covered in the video as always, but if you have enjoyed this one, a rating is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see a lot more Destiny 2 content. But otherwise, thank you as always for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.